Kumusta mga kababayan? Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Saan mang dako po kayo naroon, sana'y nasa mabuti po kayong kalagayan. Sinagot nga po nitong si Attorney Torion ang mga akusasyon nitong si dating Senador Antonio Trillanes, mga kababayan. Patungkol po ito sa helicopter at eroplano na pag-aari ng KOJC na sinasabi po nitong si Trillanes na ang tunay daw di umunong may-ari ay si Pangulong Duterte.
Yung mga private jet or helicopter na binibili ni Kibuloy, sa kanya yon kay Duterte.
Yun.
Kasi pag titignan mo, mas madalas pa siyang gumamit kaysa doon sa true owner.
Kesa kay Kibuloy.
Kaysa kay Kibuloy.
Kay Senator Trillanes at former General Nicolas Torre. Inihaharap ko ang hamong ito. Narito ang kasunduan. Patunayan ninyo ang inyong mga paratang na pagmamay-ari ni PRRD ang KOJC chopper at eroplano. Maglatag kayo ngayon din ng hindi masusubaling dokumento ng pagmamay-ari at legal na ebidensya. Kapag napatunayan ninyo na kay PRRD ngayon, inyo na ang mga ito. Ngunit kung mabibigo kayo, gaya ng aming inaasahan, magtungo kayo sa Davao. Linisin ninyo mismo ang eroplano at hangar gamit ang inyong dila.
At mapapanood din natin dito ang naging sagot naman ni Attorney Panelo patungkol dun sa mga bank record na inaakusa rin nitong si dating Senador Antonio Trillanes laban dito kay dating Pangulong Duterte, mga kababayan.
Alright, ano ba to, Senator? What is this? Because there are different accounts here. Iba-iba ito. May BDO, may Metropolitan Bank, Land Bank. Dapat maintindihan ng publiko. Ano to?
Tinignan ko ngayon yung attachment niya. Pakita ko sa inyo. Itong attachment niya. Marami yan. So tinanong ko, yung mga opisyalis, sabi ko sa inyo magaling to? Itong form na ito? Ay sir, wala kaming form na ganyan. Computer lang ho yan eh. Kung baga, tinype lang nila yon, pinagsama-sama lang nila. O di lalo na ako naniniwala ako na spurious ang document na ito. At walang saysay ang affidavit na binibigay niya.
Panoorin po natin ang napakainit na pahayag nitong si Attorney Torion, mga kababayan. Pero bago yan, kung bago ka pa lang dito sa ating channel, ay mag-subscribe ka na at i-click mo na din ang notification bell para maging updated ka sa mga susunod pa nating video. Pakilike at pakishare mo na din ang video ito sa iba pa nating mga kababayan. Maraming salamat.
Kung hindi natin papansinin ito, grave accusation ito eh. Imagine you will tell on national TV, ABS-CBN pa, si Karen Davila pa yung nag-interview, sasabihin mo, ang na-uncover namin, yung mga private jet o helicopter na binibili ni Pastor Kibuloy, sa kanya yun, kay Duterte. Positive assertion. He is asserting that Pastor Apollo si Kibuloy, the KOJC in fact, is a party to money laundering, is a party to falsification, is a party to various crimes under the present laws, under the present dispensation. So kung pababayaan namin ito, baka sasabihin ng mga tao, uy, baka totoo yun. At saka kung makinig ka kasi ni Trillanes, parang nagsasabi na siya ng gospel truth. Hindi po pwede yun. We have to defend the rights of our client. We have to say also what is our story. So that pag tingin mo doon, ito palang reply ng KOJC.
Ayan, at maraming mga sinasabi po, Senatore at Trillanes, mga akusasyon po nila laban po kay Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy at ng Kingdom of Jesus Christ. At narito po si Attorney Israelito Torion para mabigyang linaw ang lahat ng mga isyong ito, Attorney.
Yes, as a matter of fact, a while ago, meron kaming official statement ng KOJC na binasa, and I think it is high time again now to read it again para makita talaga there is no reason for former Senator Antonio Trillanes as well as former General Nicolas Torre to deny that they did not hear this. No? I will read again the official statement. Distinguished members of the media, fellow Filipinos and friends, throughout our nation's history, under every previous administration, the Kingdom of Jesus Christ has freely worshipped and served God without interference. Today, that sacred freedom is under siege. SMNI was indefinitely suspended. Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, our beloved founding president, falsely maligned and incarcerated. We survived the June 10, 2024 raid, our day of infamy, and the 16-day KOJC siege in August 2024. We chose silence. We healed. we sought no retaliation. Yet injustice persists. We are mere whipping boys for political agendas. What is holy has been politicized, our faith weaponized. To Antonio Trillanes and Nicolas Torre, I extend this challenge. This is the deal. Substantiate your claims that PRRD owns the KOJC chopper and plane. Present irrefutable ownership documents and legal proof here today. If you succeed, they are yours. But if you fail, as we expect, you have to go to Davao. Cleanse the airplane hangar yourselves with your tongue. Deal? This reflects the justice of God, who waits to vindicate the righteous and judge the wicked. The kingdom of Jesus Christ stands firm. We will not yield. Divine justice will triumph. At meron naman sa Tagalog, para maintindihan po ng ating mga kababayan. Mga kagalang-galang na miyembro ng media, kapwa Filipino at mga kaibigan. Sa buong kasaysayan ng ating bansa, sa ilalim ng bawat nagdaang administrasyon, malayang nakapagsamba at nakapaglingkod sa Diyos ang Kingdom of Jesus Christ nang walang panghihimasok. Ngunit ngayon, ang sagradong kalayaang ito ay sinasalakay. Ang SMNI ay walang takdang panahong sinuspinde at si Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, aming founding president, ay maling pinaratangan at ikinulong. Nalampasan namin ng raid noong Hunyo 10, 2024 ang aming Day of Infamy. At ang 16 at ang 16 na araw na siege sa KOJC noong Agosto 2024. Pinili naming manahimik. Naghilom kami. Hindi kami naghangad ng paghihiganti. Ngunit nagpapatuloy pa rin ang kawalan ng hustisya. Ginagawa lamang kaming pambala at kasangkapan para sa mga agenda sa politika. Ang banal ay ginawang politikal at ang aming pananampalataya ay ginawang sandata. Kaya kay Senator Trillanes at former General Nicolas Torre, inihaharap ko ang hamong ito. Narito ang kasunduan. Patunayan ninyo ang inyong mga paratang na pagmamay-ari ni PRRD ang KOJC chopper at eroplano. Maglatag kayo ngayon din ng hindi masusubaling dokumento ng pagmamay-ari at legal na ebidensya. Kapag napatunayan ninyo na kay PRRD ngayon, inyo na ang mga ito. Ngunit kung mabibigo kayo, gaya ng aming inaasahan, magtungo kayo sa Davao. Linisin ninyo mismo ang eroplano at hangar gamit ang inyong dila. Deal?
Ano pala?
Ito ay sumasalamin sa hustisya ng Diyos na naghihintay upang bigyang katarungan ang mga matuwid at hatulan ang masasama. Matatag na nanindigan ang Kingdom of Jesus Christ, hindi kami uurong. Magtatanggumpay ang banal na hustisya.
Opo, attorney, yung kanilang mga pahayag, unahin lang natin yung kay Senador Antonio Trillanes. Kasi maraming mga marami ng mga nakakapunan natin ng mga kababayan din na lahat na lang ng klase ng mga akusasyon ay ipinupukol niya. At ang malinaw dito, kung meron bang sapat na ebidensya o salita lang o kapanipaniwala ba yung mga statement lang na ilalabas niya?
Hindi talaga kapanipaniwala, no? Walang personalan po ito kay Senator Antonio Trillanes, no? Kasi nga po yung kanyang akusasyon, suriin natin. Ang sabi niya, ang na-uncover namin yung mga private jet o helicopter na binibili ni Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, sa kanya yun, kay Duterte. No? Kasi kung titingnan mo, mas madalas pa siyang gumamit kaysa sa true owner, kaysa kay Pastor Kibuloy. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Kung suriin natin, no? Ang ibig sabihin nito, mayroon pa siyang additional allegation. Si Pastor Kibuloy, pinaprop up nila na parang maging natural money laundering machine niya. Kasi hindi mo ma-question ang religion. According to him. But then, kung titingnan mo yung church ni Pastor Kibuloy, it doesn't have the capacity to raise that amount of money. Now, doon sa kanyang first accusation, na kay PRRD daw yung helicopter at mga eroplano, kasi nga daw, mas marami pa daw beses na ginagamit ni PRRD kaysa kay Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy. Maling-mali po yun. Kasi nga po, kung mag-accuse ka na hindi sa KOJC yun, kundi kay PRRD, dapat magpalabas ka ng litrato, labas ka ng video, maglabas ka ng mga witnesses, na sa PRRD talaga ang nagbigay ng pera para ma-acquire yun. Iwala eh. Wala siyang maski katiting na ebidensya to prove his accusation. So in effect, this is very libelous. And this constitutes a severe allegation that Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy has committed a violation of the AMLAC law and other crimes under the prevailing laws. Ang tawag namin dito is non-sequitur. Just because, kung totoo man, hindi namin inaamin yan ha, just because, kung totoo man, na si Presidente Duterte ay mas maraming instances na siya ang gumagamit, it is not proof to prove that he really owns these KOJC properties. It does not follow because it is not a concrete evidence of ownership. So that is why he needs to present independent, relevant, and clear proof that, in fact, PRRD ang nagmamay-ari po nito. Ang problema nito, pati si Mr. Nicolas Torre, si former General Nicolas Torre, ay nagsabi pa at nag-affirm doon sa kanyang statement. Kasi nga daw, during the KOJC siege, nakita naman daw niya na wala ganong karaming miyembro si Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy. Oh, is this proof na to prove na hindi maka-acquire ang KOJC nito? Kasi wala masyadong miyembro si Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy during the KOJC siege. Hindi rin yan ebidensya. Kasi kung titingnan mo yung context, days pa lang, months pa lang, meron na silang mga pahiwatig na kanila talagang lulusubin yung KOJC compound. At saka sa June 10 nga, sinilusob talaga na, may namatay pa nga eh. At may mga pinalabas sila ng mga declarations. O kung ikaw ang miyembro, pupunta ka pa ba sa KOJC compound na ganun ang nangyari? Tsaka, nagkaroon ba sila ng ng clear study nung previous birthdays ni Pastor prior to the siege in August of 2024? Nung birthday lang, nung 2021, 2020, 2019, milyon yung mga tao na pumupunta doon sa KOJC compound na nanunood kay Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy's presentation at pagpapakain ng mga millions of children na nandun. Oh, hindi ba proof yun ng kanyang following na napakaraming tao? Yan oh, tingnan mo. Yung feeding station yan, prior to the siege, prior sa ginagawa nilang pangaharas ngayon. Hindi ba nila kinonsider yung mga panahon na yun? Ang kinonsider lang niya, ni General Torre ay yung during the KOJC siege. Sino namang gustong pupunta doon na grabe na ang pananakot niya? Si Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy na masyadong respetado na tao, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, kundi sa buong mundo. Kasi ang KOJC ay may presence sa 200 countries and 2,000 cities. Siya nga ay inatake nila, politically harassed. How much more the ordinary members of KOJC? We admit na siguro mga 70% ng mga miyembro hindi masyado mayaman. Pero may mga mayayaman din masyado. Yung more than 70%, pagtakutin mo, of course, matatakot yun. May reputasyon pa si General Torre na masyado siyang matapang. Kung pupunta sila doon, baka huhulihin sila, naturalmente, hindi napupunta yun. Just because hindi nga nakaabot ng 5,000 yung tao at that time doon sa KOJC compound. Proof ba yun na walang capacity ang KOJC to acquire the airplanes and the, this helicopter? Yung mga helicopter, yung hindi pa nga si Presidente Duterte, may helicopter na si Pastor Apollo si Kibuloy. Sa pagkakaalam ko, yung bagong mayor pa lang siya or prior to that or bagong mayor pa lang siya, meron na pong helicopter at saka meron na pong eroplano si Pastor Apollo si Kibuloy. Kaya nga po, wag naman tayo masyadong magmalabis.
What I told the Committee on Justice last Wednesday ay kung ano yung pinanggalingan nito. So, I mentioned na may whistleblower na nagbigay sa akin ng set of documents during the latter part of the campaign noong 2016. This was around April. Tapos, napag-aralan namin, tinignan namin, vinet namin. Eventually, may mga nagdeposito. Tapos, si Duterte mismo ay umamin, no, publicly. So, sigurado kami na tama yung hawak namin ng mga dokumento. Tapos, pag inanalyze mo, bilyon-bilyon yung perang pumasok dito. Tapos, so yun. Una, 2.4 billion ang pera doon sa Sara Duterte joint with Digong Duterte account. So yan yung main account.
This is a BPI account.
Yes,
Okay.
Julia Vargas branch. So kaya nga, kung maalala ng mga kababayan natin, nagkaroon kami ng standoff noon. Naghamon siya na magkita daw kami doon. I showed up, hindi siya nagpakita. Doon pa lang red flags na
2016 to.
2016. At yung branch manager doon, sinasabi niya na pwede ako magbigay ng statement of account para makita niyo na yung account history. Pinigilan ni Panelo yan. Sinabi niya, no, ang hinihingi dito is certification na hindi lumagpas daw ng 200 million yung account. But that certification even never came to light, di ba? Tapos na election nun Kumbaga, this part of the campaign was drowned out by the euphoria of a Duterte victory. So yun na yun.
Ito mga kababayan, pakinggan naman natin itong pahayag yan nitong si Atty. Panelo patungkol nga sa sinasabi nitong ni Trillanes dun sa BPI account ni dating Pangulong Duterte at saka ni Vice President Sara Duterte.
What is important is this. Ito ang pinakamalaga rito. Nagamon si Trillanes, nabuksan, at tinanggap ang hamon. Tinanong ko sila, nakita niyo ang records, hindi ba? Sabi nila, opo. Meron bang 211 million? Well, noon, ngayon, at nung nakaraan, wala po. Kung wala, di mag-issue kayo ng certification sa amin. Sir, pag-aaralan namin yan. Kasi hindi naman yan ang standard practice ng pag-issue ng certification. Ang standard practice ng bangko, sasabihin lang namin ang balance. Tapos, bago siya umalis, binigyan niya ako ng affidavit. At ang sabi ni Senator Trillanes, sabi niya, Atty. Panelo, ito na po yung affidavit na hinihingi ni Mayor Duterte. So, tinanggap ko at binasa ko. Lalo po ako naniwala na kabalbalan lahat itong mga pinagsasabi niya. Kasi, ang sabi niya sa affidavit, may nakilala daw siyang Joseph de Mesa. Yun daw Joseph de Mesa, lumapit sa kanya at sinabi sa kanya na meron daw siyang kakilala na nagsasabi na maraming account si Mayor Duterte. Madalit sabi, hearsay na kay de Mesa, narinig pa ni de Mesa double hearsay. Kung baga, hindi lang ito kwentong kutsero, kwentong barbero pa. Alright. Pangalawa, tinignan ko ngayon yung attachment niya. Pakita ko sa inyo, itong attachment niya. Marami yan. So, tinanong ko, yung mga opisyalis, sabi ko sa inyo magaling to?
Ito yung dala-dala nitong ni Trillanes dito sa ginawang hearing diyan sa Congress. Yung pinakita niya, yung mahabang listahan na di umano yung mga bank records ng pamilya Duterte.
Form na ito. Ay sir, wala kaming form na ganyan. Computer lang ho yan Kung baga, tinype lang nila yon, pinagsama-sama lang nila. Di lalo na ako naniniwala ako na spurious ang document na ito. At walang saysay ang affidavit na binibigay niya.
Wala palang sa isa yung mga dokumento mo
Pero dito ko makikita na noon pa lang ay una, corrupt si Duterte. That's one. Pangalawa, is involved siya sa illegal drugs through Sami Uy. Ngayon, nung una, hindi ko alam yung Sami Uy lang. Nakita ko lang.
But let's go there. Let's save that.
Yes, okay.
Because the whole Sami Uy alleged drug lord
Yeah.
needs to be explained.
Yeah.
So let's show this first. This is what you actually brought in April when you went to the House hearing.
Yeah.
Right? So if you look at this, can we have a wide shot of this? Napakahaba po nito. All right, ano ba to, Senator? What is this? Because there are different accounts here. Iba-iba ito. May BDO, may Metropolitan Bank, Land Bank. Dapat maintindihan ng publiko. Ano to?
So, ito po yung dokumentong ibinigay sa akin ng whistleblower. Tapos, dito makikita natin, may pangalan ng account, address, tapos birth date, tapos may...
So ginawa nga lang pala talaga kasi sama-sama na yung iba't ibang bangko. So computerized talaga yan, maliwanag.
ito yung recipient, tapos iba pang details, no?
Yeah.
Kailan, tapos kung magkano.
Okay.
So, andyan dyan yan.
Oo.
Ngayon,
So
pag
this is the family. This is the whole family.
No,
Ano?
only Sara Duterte.
Only Sara, the Vice President?
Sara Duterte and Rodrigo Duterte ito.
All of this?
Yes. Ito
So
lang
how
yun.
many bank accounts are we talking about?
We're talking about 50 plus bank accounts.
That's named Rodrigo Duterte and Sara Duterte, like literally.
Yes, and Sara Duterte only, meron din Sara Duterte only joint with Manscarpio.
Okay.
So, pero ito kasi, as it is, hindi mo talaga ma-analyze to. You need to separate the bank accounts, the
Yeah.
unique bank accounts.
Yeah.
Doon mo lang makikita yung totals niya
Oo.
per bank account.
Oo. So for example, here, I'll pick a random one. Rodrigo Duterte, Sara Duterte, BPI,
Yeah.
this is in Green Hills.
Green Hills.
And then here is this the total? At
Yes.
one point in time, a total of 224 million.
No, that's
Ano to? 24
224
million.
No, 24,000 US dollars, yeah.
A US to.
Yeah, US
Also
dollars.
US to. Okay, go on. Correct
So,
me.
meron nga siyang $1 million na isang transaction. So, kumaga dito, makikita mo yung pretension na noong time na yon pinakita niya na simple lang siya, 'di ba, kumakain sa karinderya. And yet you have this, no? You have this na mga accounts na talagang mga transactions na malalaki. And remember, ang critical dito, these are only the flag transactions, the covered transactions.
Oo.
Meaning yung mga lumagpas sa 500,000.
Oo.
Pero yung below 500,000, hindi nakikita dito.
Oo.
So ngayon, it could be more.
Yeah.
And I am sure it is more. Why? Because pag tinotal mo siya, pag inanalyze mo yung account na yon, yung mother account ni Sara Duterte and Digong Duterte, yung winidraw niya, mas malaki kaysa dun sa pumasok. Ibig sabihin, meron mga pinapasok below the threshold na 500,000. So, kaya nga, yung branch manager ng BPI Julia Vargas, nung nanalo si Duterte, ginawang SSS president ni ano yan. She was rewarded during the time of Duterte.
Do you believe that person should be called to the hearing? Or if this goes to the Senate?
No, sa criminal investigation yan sila kailangan. Kasi ito, makikita mo, supposed to be, yung sa anti-money laundering law, meron silang system na pagka lumagpas ng 500,000, automatic nire-report. Pero pagka below 500,000, pero suspicious yung transactions, kunyari nagde-deposit lang ng 400,000, multiple 400,000 deposits per day o within the month, hindi makikita ng AMLAC yun. Pero yung branch, yung bangko mismo, dapat ang nagre-report nun ng suspicious. Pero kung kasabwat yung branch manager doon, hindi nila i-report yan.
Okay, so during the impeachment trial of former Erap Estrada, the late Chief Justice Renato Corona, there were bank managers who were called in the Senate trial. And they admitted, oh, yes, Jose Velarde is Erap Estrada. Yes, Renato Corona had 200 million in his bank account. And those were game changers.
Yeah.
That confirmation. Ikaw, do you believe, Senator, na dapat tawagin sa Senado?
Okay, yung AMLAC by itself damning evidence na ito. So it's now up to
The prosecution.
the
kung
defense to refute this. Pagka hindi nila na-refute yan, yon. Ngayon, yung bank, pwede sila ipatawag, but knowing the bank industry, they will do everything to protect yung details or information about their clients. Pero it may come to that. Kasi dito madidiscover natin na in cahoots yung bank officials, at least dun sa Julia Vargas branch. They allow this whole thing to happen. I believe itong mother account na ito.
But what,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, sir, but what can a bank do? I mean, this is not the first time that you have banks. I mean, essentially, they're there to do business. So if there's a deposit in this account, what should banks do?
Okay. Una-una, let me be clear. I'm not saying the whole bank, BPI in particular, is in cahoots. No. I believe it's a professional institution. But pagka ang kasabwat sa branch level, kailangan nilang i-audit. Kailangan silang may random audit. Ngayon, merong bank policy, yung knowing your client. Diba? Titignan mo. Supposed to be, pagka nakita nilang shady yung karakter, mukhang smuggler, drug lord, gano'n, fina-flag nila, nire-report nila quietly. Kaso kung kasabwat yon, nobody will report it anymore.
Okay. So, ang tanong ko ito, if you're a bank manager, right, know your client, and politicians in this country, diba, iisipin nila, ay, politiko yan eh. Madaming donation yan, madaming pera yan. So, some of them may not report it. The viewer could be asking, on paper, what makes this already inherently questionable?
Ganito po, pagka politician ka, in fact, flag ka na eh. Politically exposed person ka na. Yun yung policy. Pero dito, makita mo, tumagal siya hanggang 2016.
No, 2026. At 2016.
Noong 2016, nag-ano na siya.
Oo.
Nung ni-report ko na to, nag-lilo na sila. They started taking out the money. Pero from 2003 hanggang 2016, very obvious yung pasok nito, yung labas-pasok. Billions eh.
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
Though in 2016, I want to remind the public that
Kung dati pa pala alam mo na ganun, bakit pumunta ka pa kay dating Mayor Duterte at gusto mo pang ikaw ang gawing Vice President? Kung naniniwala ka na tangkot pala siya sa mga binibintang mo na yan.
when you filed a plunder complaint against former President Duterte, this was before the elections, you already discovered 2.4 billion worth of deposits.
Yes.
But AMLAC refused to cooperate with you then.
Yes.
Totoo yun.
Yeah.
Malungkot pero totoo. In 2017, the Deputy Ombudsman revealed
Yeah.
that, okay, with your allegations, at least there was 1 billion in cash flow.
Yeah.
Of course, he was fired.
Yes, he was fired. And ano lang naman, yun sa kanya, cursory, kumbaga accounting yon. Hindi naman, but sinabi niya basically similar
Oo.
yung nakita niya with what I attached. So doon pa lang inano niya, but then he was fired, di ba? So nagkaroon sila ng na stonewall nila yung lahat yung investigation na to. Kaya it didn't progress. So ito lang ngayon. Ngayon lang yan, finally, na-confirm nila na parehas yun.
Okay. Now, you kept mentioning Sammy Uy in the hearing. And when you mention him, you would always say drug lord.
Yeah.
Right? Explain to us, Sammy Uy in Davao is known to be a very close friend of former President Duterte. That's quite open. But why would he be an alleged drug lord?
Okay, ganito po. Nung una ko po in-expose itong mga accounts na to, 2016, nakita ko yung pangalan Sammy Uy.
Oo.
So, we researched on him. Sino ba ito? So, may-ari ng sabungan, dating kapartner niya, ni Digong, nagtayo sila ng Honda dealership, which they eventually closed. Tapos, number one political campaign donor ni Duterte. So, yun. Yun yung pagkakaalam ko. Kaya ang tinitignan ko ito, ano ito? Baka galing ito sa corruption sa City Hall, yung ghost employees. So, yun yung mga theories nung
Oo.
time na yun.
In total of the 50 accounts,
Yeah.
ilang accounts ang dinepositan ni Sammy Uy?
Itong one account na, yung main account, yung mother account na tinatawag ko, na joint si Sara at saka ni Digong.
Okay.
Ngayon, ganito, noong 2020, when Arturo Las Cañas, the original member ng Davao Death Squad, submitted his affidavits sa ICC, I was able to get a copy of that. So binabasa ko yung talagang paano nila sinimulan yung Davao Death Squad, tapos yung nagtayo ng kartel si Duterte noong 2001. Then, na-mention niya doon, Sammy Uy, Michael Yang, Charlie Tan, na drug lord sila na tumulong kay Duterte noong 2001 elections. Kasi muntik na matalo si Digong noon, kailangan niya ng pera, itong mga ito ang nag-save sa kanya. Ngayon, lumabas, nagtayo ng Shabu Laboratory, gano'n. Then sabi ko, Sammy Uy,
Las Cañas said this in
Yes,
his affidavit.
in his affidavit.
And allegedly, saan nagtayo ng Shabu Laboratory?
sa Davao. So, iba't ibang places sa Davao. Si Sammy Uy yung tagakuha ng mga apartment, yung bahay. Siya yung front na businessman. Si Michael Yang naman yung triad connection nila sa mainland China. Then si Charlie Tan naman yung contact nila sa customs. Siya yung taga-ayos sa customs. So may mga roles to play sila. Ito yung sinabi ni Las Cañas. Ngayon, sabi ko, familiar itong Sammy Uy nito. Then I went back to this. Doon ko nakita, teka muna, bakit nagbibigay sila si Sammy Uy sa members ng family?
Yeah.
So,
Oo.
yun ngayon.
And can we look at it? I mean, it's somewhere here. But the deposits by Sammy Uy amounted roughly to 7 million pesos per transaction.
Yung kay Sara yon.
Oo.
Oo. So, dito yan siya eh. Mga
Oo.
2011 to 2013.
Okay.
May kita mo siya dito. Hindi ko na-mark eh.
Oo.
So, yan.
Okay.
Sammy Uy.
Sammy Uy.
Sammy
Alright.
Uy, ito yun, 7.4 million.
So that's the average, 7.4 million.
No. For Sara, nakakuha siya ng tatlong 7.4 million pesos. Tatlong
Okay.
beses.
Na pareho ang amount.
Pare-parehas
That's
hanggang...
what's interesting. Ba't
hanggang
pare-pareho? Ayan, we're
Ay-
showing it.
I think ang ginagawa nila dito, parang hindi siya ma-detect na parang lumalabas ano ito, parang interest or alam mo yun, yung hindi yung deposito na outright. Pero the other members of the family, si Baste got more than 50 million, si Hanilet,
Nabuo.
no, tagte 10 million, 10
Okay.
million plus.
Oo.
Si Kitty, ano ito, no? Minor pa siya noon, kaya joint sila nung nanay niya. Pero the intention was to give to the children. Kaya yun, no? 50 million din sila. 50 plus. Si Pulong, mga 9 million sa mga 4 transactions, 30 plus million siya. So, iba-iba ang amount. Pero,
And Sammy Uy was so brazen, are you saying, that the deposit was literally from his own account?
yes, and manager's check ito. Ngayon,
Okay.
ganito, siguro,
Oo.
ang theory ko dito, early on, this was 2011 to 2013. So, every 6 months, nagbibigay ng dividendo eh.
Yun ang period, 6 months talaga.
6 months talaga. It's either birthday ni Digong ng March 28, pero normally April, then October. So, ganun, thereabouts yung payouts. Then, makikita mo, so that span, check ito, manager's check. So, manager's check na from the account of Sammy Uy in the name of the Duterte family members. So, noong time na yun, siguro, trying to pretend it's a normal business transaction through kung anumang cover nila, then siguro nakita nila yung paper trail. Eventually, ano na lang, inter-branch transfers na lang. So dito mo makikita yon. Kaya ang conclusion ko rito, the whole thing, the whole 2 billion came from Sami Uy kasi the same pattern, every 6 months pumapasok yung pera, nagdi-dividend sila.
Okay, so ang tanong nito, how could you assume or anyone that it would be drug money? What if sabi ni Sami Uy, oh, they were a partner in, let's say, a property I bought or itong Honda dealership or yung mga nabanggit mong negosyo. Sabihin niya, yan yung dividend nila, yan ang share, yan yung profit. Or eto sasabihin ni Sami Uy, regalo ko lang.
Okay, ganito po. Una, may insider na information to. Whistleblower, sinabi niya ito. At pag nakita niyo yung 186-page affidavit ni Las Cañas, ando doon yung mga specific instances na itong mga personalities na to. Hindi to parang in-insert lang na ano niya. No, this was his personal eyewitness account. O sige, so sinabi niya drug lord yan si Sami Uy, Michael Yang, at saka Charlie Tan. Okay, ngayon tanggalin natin yung information na yan. The thing about the law on ill-gotten wealth, once na-establish mo na yung wealth na questionable, ngayon, the burden of proof shifts doon sa akusado. Prove now na hindi yan ill-gotten. Okay, ang problema doon sa defense na yon, nung time na to, 2011 to 2013, mayor si Sara Duterte. Tapos tumatanggap siya ng pera dito sa taong ito. Regardless, drug lord siya o negosyante. Bakit ka tumatanggap? Anong reason mo? Next is, bakit hindi mo dineclare sa salin mo?
Dapat dineclare.
Dapat dineclare mo. Ngayon, kung legit yun, di ba? Ngayon ito, we're talking about almost 100 million per year ang binibigay mo na dividendo. Now, tell me kung anong negosyo ang magbibigay ng ganyan dividendo from Davao. Then, bakit mo binibigyan ng ganyan amount? Who is the Duterte family to you, Mr. Sami Uy? Kailangan sila mag-a-admit. Then, kung legit yan, asan yung financial statements mo, asan yung tax returns mo? Oh, you would be exposing yourself sa tax evasion. Oh, tignan natin kung anong justification nila.
The lawyer of Vice President Sara Duterte said that number one, there's no declared cash on hand sa SALN ng Vice President because it's under others. Nandun daw sa others. Is that allowed? You were once, a senator, being a public official. Can cash be under others?
No, it's not. It can't be allowed because may pro forma na SALN eh. Hindi ka pwedeng gumawa ng SALN based dun sa gusto mo. Ang nilalagay sa SALN, yung, for example, meron kang ng others, no? Yung others, kunyari meron kang mga barel.
Pwede.
Or
jewelry.
Hindi, merong na jewelry.
Paintings.
Yan, pwede yun.
Pwede
Paintings
sa others.
sa others. Pero isa-specify mo kung significant yan. Di ba? Kunyari, meron kang mga ibang items na nabili mo na wala siya, kumbaga peculiar siya. Doon yung others. Pero yung cash, common yun eh. Even an entry-level government employee knows that na kailangan mo maglagay nun.
So I want to read this so it's fair. Attorney Michael Poa said this, upon a consultation with our client, the Vice President, what happened there was it was lumped under others. In the SALN, there are real properties and personal properties. Under the personal properties, the amount was just lumped under the heading others. That's the line item.
Okay, they can stick to that, Subukan nila yan dun sa defense. Ang problema nito, it will not match still doon sa nakita namin dito, dun sa sinabi ng AMLAC, at hindi mo pwedeng, kasi you look at this, ito lang random. Talking about 55 million. Ayan, Sara Duterte yan. Okay, pumasok o lumabas. Dito mo makikita, hindi ito time deposit kasi it's the same amount. Okay, 55,131,000. Dito, 55,131,000.
Same amount.
Same amount.
Oo.
Pati
55 million.
So, ganun, 1-3. So, baka,
Oo.
they cannot even say na, ito na time deposit because it is not.
Okay, what if the Vice President says, you know, I have an account with my father, but I don't know what was happening in that account. Siya yung may hawak ng account.
She would have to admit that. Pag nag-admit ka na dyan,
And that's damning.
and yes, that's damning. And also, alam naman natin sa bangko, every so often, nagpapa-update ng signature card yan. You cannot claim that. May mga, kita mo sa birthday ni Digong, 20 million pesos, nag-out siya ng 20 million, isa yan. So yan, 20 million dito.
Deposit to or withdraw.
Andiyan dyan sa transaction.
But this is an account of Sara Duterte here.
Yes.
Solo.
Yes.
Solo account.
Pero ito yan, March 28, di ba? Birthday ni Duterte yan.
Oo.
Inter-branch transfer. 4.
Okay, let's
So,
show this. Let me show it
makikita
to
mo.
the audience. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when this was given to you by a whistleblower,
Yeah.
the whistleblower is not Las Cañas or Madriaga.
not.
No, it's somebody else,
Yeah.
right? Ito I don't know kung kaya to ng camera, but it says here, so within a day,
Yeah.
this is within a day,
Within a day.
4 withdrawals.
Yes, four
4
withdrawals.
withdrawals of 20 million pesos, so 80 million.
Yeah, 80 million. Inter-branch transfers.
Inter-branch transfer.
So, pero palabas.
Palabas. Oo.
So, ibig sabihin nun, birthday ni Duterte, nagbigay siya. And ang assumption dito, dun sa mga anak. Kasi yun yung pattern eh.
Oo.
Yun ang pattern, binibigay niya. Kaya, ito yan. Then, pag tinignan mo, bakit sobra ng mga 500 million yung withdrawals? Kasi sunod-sunod, nag-withdraw eh. 500 million without any inflow. So, ang conclusion mo nito, you have more than 500 million kasi yun eh, nag-withdraw ka.
Okay, now, the team of the Vice President was saying that accounts or exchanges, transactions should, during her tenure as Vice President, should be the only ones reviewed. What is your reaction on that?
Okay, ganito po, no? They can assert that. Pero yung bribery and corruption, ano yan eh, betrayal of public trust yan. Whether you committed that a day before you became Vice President. Ang sinasabi doon na covered lang, yung mga official acts na questionable, yan pwede mong i-assert yan. Pero when it comes to corruption, bribery, itong SALE na to kasi continuing crime siya eh. Tapos,
And I'd like to remind the public a little bit of history here because
Yeah.
I've covered all the impeachment trials and then the co-waranto.
Yeah.
Let's not forget of former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno.
Sereno.
Si Sereno ay nako-waranto, natanggal bilang Chief Justice based on, napakasimple hindi pa yun mayaman. A SALN that allegedly she did not file.
Yeah.
Nung UP professor siya.
yes.
So not even when she was a judge, binalikan yung SALN niya nung nagtuturo sa UP at sinabing may 1 taon or I don't know,
Yeah.
na hindi mo final based on that was used against her.
Yes, yun nga po, no? Kaya importante ito. We're talking about the fitness to hold the office. Ngayon, kung meron kang Vice President na may pumapasok na bilyon-bilyon na ganito, coming from a drug lord, ngayon na-discovery mo to, okay lang yon? Di ba sabihin mo, hindi naman nangyari yan nung Vice President ako. Hindi, iba yon. Betrayal of public trust through. Kaya it encompasses yung limits na yon, yung term limits na yon. Kaya yun. Then, more importantly, this establishes a pattern of behavior. Kung corruption noon, ngayon may allegations siya ng corruption, ibig sabihin hindi to one-off thing or she can say na hindi ako yan. Pero ito may pattern of behavior. Ever since she came into office, ganun na ginagawa niya. Kaya she's just being consistently corrupt as a public official.
Now, no one has heard from Sammy Uy, right? He's remained silent. Napakababa kasi ng threshold just to send this to the Senate, diba? Yung probable cause is a very low threshold. Based already, of course, you are a witness, but based on this, you believe the threshold's been met.
Yes, talagang sobra-sobra na
Okay.
ito. Yeah.
Ang tanong ko, do you believe that Sammy Uy, if this gets to the Senate, should be called, even as a hostile witness?
Hindi necessary because it's already established here sa AMLAC, tapos dito sa aking mga dokumento na nagbigay siya sa mga Dutertes ng
So
ganito
you
amount.
don't believe it will make a difference if he explains bakit niya binigay, saan nanggaling ang 7 million, etc. Sa pananaw niyo, irrelevant na at this point.
As far as the prosecution is concerned, yung defense, pwede nila i-present si Sammy Uy, di tignan natin kung lalo silang mababaon doon pag present yan because he wouldn't know what to say. Bakit mo binibigyan itong Duterte family ng ganito? Diba?
Kasi kahit na hindi yun galing sa drugs, kahit sa negosyo, it is a crime in itself for a public official to accept that much money, frankly, through the years.
Yes.
Oo. All right. Now, you have been doing this for 10 years. Wow. They've already said this is the smoking gun. You believe this is the smoking gun?
I believe so. But meron pang ibang mga smoking guns, no?
Like?
Yung sa confidential funds. Yon, maliwanag yon. At itong even yung kay Ramil Madriaga, some people may not believe that, pero nung nakita ko na kaibigan niya, sinulas ko, ibig sabihin meron siyang placement and access to do what he claims to have done. Yan.
Oo. Now, smoking gun, you said the confidential funds is one more. At one point in time, let's face it, when you were exposing this in 2016, it was against a very popular candidate.
Yeah.
And for so long, you kept at this that people thought, wow, Trillanes is crazy, right? You were like a lone voice. Madriaga, in his affidavit, said that he claims that the former president ordered to sabotage you, not kill you, but sabotage you, in effect, to silence you. No? Did you ever find out what the sabotaging was meant?
Hindi ko po na-find out. And even si Las Cañas said he was ordered by Duterte to have me killed. So meron mga ganun.
Meron. You know, what kept you on for 10 years? Yun muna ang tanong ko. Some people would have stopped.
Siguro it's first and foremost, it's an advocacy that I started nung OCUD pa lang. It's an anti-corruption thing. Then even further back,
Anti-corruption.
nung kadete ako, I was the chairman of the honor committee. So yun yung tinuturo namin basically, na huwag kang mangurakot, huwag kang mandaya, etc. So yun yung
Paano kami maniniwala na anti-corruption yung pinaglalaban mo? Doon sa corruption na nangyari dito sa flood control na pinakamalaking korupsyon na nangyari sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas, wala ka man lang sinasabi patungkol kay doon sa mga nadadamay, sa mga nasasangkot na pangalan itong kay Martin Romualdez at kay PBBM na di umano ay may mga kinalaman dito sa nangyaring anomalya. Hindi mo nga sila mapuna-puna Tapos sasabihin mo na anti-corruption ka. Paano kami maniniwala sa'yo niyan?
advocacy na, no? Lifelong advocacy. Pero in this particular case, yung kay Duterte, the Duterte family, talagang naniniwala ako na existential threat sila sa demokrasya ng Pilipinas. Kaya nung 2016 ko pa sinasabi,
Malala.
huwag natin to iboto kasi masisira, gigibain ito yung Pilipinas. Hindi ko pa alam yung involvement sa drugs at that time, no? Yun lang kanyang propensity to be violent and yun na. So nangyari yon. But sabi ko nga, looking back just from a spiritual lens, no, na siguro we had to go through that. It was meant to be na pagdaanan natin ng isang Duterte. Hopefully, we learn something about it.
Duterte na pinakamataas ang trust and approval rating sa lahat ng naging presidente.
Learn something from that experience.
Because it was very difficult for people to believe. And I guess some people today too, the allegation that Duterte is a drug protector because the whole presidency was anchored on an anti-drug campaign.
Yeah.
And which the irony is, he is in the ICC for that very reason.
Yeah.
Right? Alleged extrajudicial killings, the drug war. So, when parang pag sinabi mo noon, drug protector si Duterte, ang hirap piniwalaan na it's the very thing kaya siya nanalo.
Kaya, yun nga po, no? From a neutral observer, ganyan po, no? Parang ang hirap paniwalaan. Pero once ma-decode mo na si Duterte, and that's what we have done, makikita mo, talagang it's shouting to your face. Tingnan na lang natin si Michael Yang. Si Michael Yang, drug lord siya. Established lahat.
Yeah. And let's remind the public, Michael Yang was also involved in the Farmally.
In the Farmally
scandal.
Oo. So, early on, siya yung drug lord dun sa Davao City. Ngayon, nireport siya ng drug enforcement group ng PNP na drug lord yan. Anong ginawa ni Duterte, no? First and foremost, pre-promote niya as economic advisor. That's what he did that para sabihin sa birokrasya, PIDEA, PNP lahat, na bata ko to, huwag niyong gagalawin. There here comes Colonel Acerto na hindi niya nakuha yung
Memo.
subtle message, the memo. So ginawa niya, teka, drug lord yan. What did Duterte do? Binaliktad niya, kinasuhan niya ito pinapapatay niya si Acerto on national TV. So, bukod sa inarbor niya to, sinilence pa niya yan. Then, ito yan. Doon sa panahon ni Duterte, ito lang, you can check the records, doon lang nagkaroon ng importation na tonelada na shabu. Imagine, who's the drug lord who would be daring enough to do that under a regime ng presidente na galit daw sa drug lord? Diba? Okay. Nakapasok. Ang dami nakapasok. May mga nahuli after nang lumusot sa customs. Then what did Duterte do? Hinabol ba niya kung sino yung drug lord na yon? Hindi. Yun yung Customs Commission na nagpalusot nun, pre-nomote pa. Doon mo makikita na hindi ito galit sa drugs. Tapos meron pang instance yung magnetic lifters na sinasabi na ng mga K9, yung PIDEA, na yung K9, ang actions niya ay positive, yung drugs. Ang ginawa ni Duterte, sabi niya, no, hindi yan drugs. Pinagtatakpan, bakit kina Michael Yang yon? It's his cartel. Kaya, and not one time na in-identify ng PIDEA or ni Duterte himself kung sino yung drug lord behind these large importations. You can check you can Google it, wala. Supposed to be galit ka, nalusotan ka, hahabulin mo yan. Sino yung drug lord na daring yan? So again, once ma-decode mo yan si Duterte, it's very clear. Everything fits. Pero for the first timer na naririnig ito, talagang parang it's hard to believe. Yeah.
No, and I wanted to ask you, so you said the words decoding. We're supposed to go into a commercial break, but decoding Duterte. And I think that's interesting. Decoding means you took time to understand, right? So what is the psychology? Why would a man be a drug protector and allow it and then go on a nationwide campaign to be against it? Yun ang tanong ko lang. What's that psychology?
Okay. Pag tinignan mo yung psychological profile nito, we were able to get yung annulment ano niya, no, yung psychological report. He manipulates. Nung time na yan, he was manipulating his wife, pero makikita mo yun. Ngayon, kung magababalik ta rin niya, siya yung womanizer, pero i-blame niya doon sa wife na siguro, ganito. Parang, ano siya, parang manipulator nga, no? Then, nung 2001, sabi to ni Las Cañas, early on, hindi pa sila involved dyan. Talagang ginagamit lang yung pagpatay para makontrol yung Davao City, no?
So hindi pa talaga involved sa drugs
Hindi
noon?
pa. Until nung 2001, when he narrowly lost doon sa kay then Mayor de Guzman, he was returning from Congress. Kailangan niya ng pera, pumasok itong grupo nila Michael Yang. So because of that, indebted na siya sa triad ito. So ngayon, he needed to protect it kasi parang ito na ginagamit niya yung pera to accumulate power. Hindi naman siya yung typical na materialistic na bumibili ng mga bahay.
That's another thing. Interesting.
hindi.
Okay, I want to ask you about that. No, it's interesting because people, I mean, nakikita mo, the Dutertes, the image is they live simply.
Yeah.
So it's not like allegations of Zaldico or the former House Speaker Martin Romualdez where people can show houses, they bought this, they bought that, they live luxuriously, and where would the Duterte spend it?
Si Duterte, ginagamit niya ito to accumulate power. Yun, ginagamit niya sa election to keep other sectors at bay, kino-co-op niya sa media, sa PNP, lahat, para in power siya. Yun yung high niya eh. That's his high.
So it's not really material things per se.
Yes, pero meron din siya.
Ano?
So, ang uncover namin, yung mga private jet or helicopter na binibili ni Kibuloy, sa kanya yon kay Duterte.
Yun.
Kasi pag titignan mo, mas madalas pa siyang gumamit kaysa doon sa true owner.
Kesa kay Kibuloy.
Kaysa kay Kibuloy. Tsaka
Yari ka dyan.
si Kibuloy, pre-nap up nila para nga maging natural money laundering machine niya eh. Kasi hindi mo maki-question yung religion. But then pag titignan mo yung church ni Kibuloy, it doesn't have the capacity to raise that amount of money.
At yun na nga mga kababayan, hanggang dito na lang po ang ating video. Kung ano man po ang inyong opinion sa video ito, ay comment nyo lang po sa baba at ating pag-uusapan. Naway maging kabahagi po tayong lahat tungo sa pagsulong at pag-unlad ng ating pinakamamahal na bansang Pilipinas. Ingat po kayo palagi at maraming salamat.